Ladies and gentlemen, the time has come. That's right, the formerly exclusive PlayStation VR game Marvel's Iron Man VR is now available on the Quest 2 and Pro headsets, and while my good buddy Chris is handling the full review, link right here and in the description, I decided to compare the PSVR and Quest 2 versions and see exactly what's changed in the port to the standalone headset. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe, and leave us a comment, as it really helps us out. I'm Ryan for the VR Grid, now let's get to it. Right off the hop, you can see there's a dramatic increase in resolution on the Quest 2 side of things, which is of course expected, but on the PSVR side, there's a dramatic increase in texture quality and detail, as well as lighting effects, which you'll see as we get closer here.
Repulsors ready. Hands up, palms forward.
The gameplay remains largely intact across either headset, including all the targets and stuff you shoot. Not too much any changes there. Not too many changes there, rather. You can see, once again, in the water reflections, there's a little more lighting effects on the PSVR side, and obviously there's that texture quality as well. The Quest version does look a little bit lighter compared to the darks on the PSVR side of things. Once again, you don't really notice it in the headset, but once you're looking at it side by side, it's obviously a lot more apparent. And now we come into here, you just noticed in the Quest version there was actually smooth locomotion, whereas on the PSVR version that's still only no teleportation only. They've changed the character models. You can see the coloring in here as well is also dramatically different. I actually prefer the Quest version. That sunset coloring actually looks really, really good in the headset, whereas on the PSVR side of things, it looks a little artificial. That being said, there is some dynamic lighting happening on the PSVR side that just does make things look better. You can see on Pepper's arms and whatnot, her face and shadows, it does look a little cleaner for sure, but honestly you can see the shadow on the Quest side of things, that tree in the background, it looks really, really good. Some really smart choices were made in designing or changing the colors to match the power of the headset that really avoid making it look, I guess, as bad as it could, if that sounds fair.
A better way to see the world.
Hey Tony, looks like you found him. I'm waiting for you.
So once again, we're outside. You can see the drones. There's a little bit less detail on the Quest side of things. It's kind of par for the course with how this game looks overall, with just less texture details over everything. But once again, you can see the gameplay is intact, and you can see this beautiful sunset right there.
Like I always say,
Definitely you can see where a lot of those effects were reduced, once again.
the world doesn't need another cruise missile or smart bomb.
There's our close-up of
The
Pepper.
world needs you, Tony.
And a different picture right here, that's right. So there is some little asset changes here and there in regards to the Quest and PSVR version that I noticed and did pick up on, so there's that. Now we're on the first stage in the plane. Once again, you notice the lighting effects all over Pepper on the PSVR version, whereas they're much more static on the Quest version.
You did, sir. Unfortunately, I'm not in control right now.
This looks surprisingly well detailed on both. Like, I mean, other than the clouds in the background, which will look a little more artificial and 2D on the Quest version, it looks solid. And once, like I said, when you're in the headset, the clouds look perfectly fine. Once again, it's that side-by-side comparison where you really notice it. But, that is the point of this video, I suppose.
Hello, Stark.
Do I know you?
I'm a ghost from your past.
Once again, the lighting effects very, very clear there.
Incoming!
Now we get to the fire and flame effects. So once again, all the shadows and stuff. There's just a lot more happening on the PSVR version. There's no denying that. But that being said, on the Quest version, if you're not looking for it or, notice what's missing, it still looks surprisingly good. Now, once again, the plane, you can see all the reflections, the steel. It just looks a little bit shinier on the PSVR version. And now we can see the clouds in a lot more detail. You can see the clouds just look fluffier and more like just authentic and real compared to the Quest 2 version. But once again, I keep saying it, in the headset, it's a lot harder to tell. This looks pretty damn good. You can see up close here when we get to the engine. I mean, some of the stuff, especially these little mini game type details, look phenomenal on either headset. There isn't really much difference at all. Some of the light, effects in the fire and whatnot look a little bit better on the PSVR. A little more like flicker and ambers, that kind of thing, but it's so minor.
It is no longer responding, and the jet is projected to crash into a populated area.
Then we get a little action in the sky.
Enemies inbound.
Got it.
And like I said, side by side, you can see the clouds. There's, you can see the clouds popping in on the Quest 2 version, whereas on the PSVR version, they're popping in behind the clouds you already see, so you're just not seeing that pop in, as much. But once again, when you're focusing on the action and shooting drones, it's not something I ever really noticed in the game. I did notice it, I guess, once or twice on the Quest version, but it was so rare. And here, this is just seen. You can see all the color details on the wheels and just how kind of flat and monotone they are compared to the PSVR version.
Pepper! Take my hand!
Tony!
But once again, this looks decent. And here you'll notice the explosion right away of the planes. The explosion looks much better on the PSVR version. Up next, there are AI companions who take a hit on the Quest version once more. I mean, it's not so bad, take a hit. It looks perfectly fine. But that being said, you can see the lighting choices in the background on the Quest version. You can see that fish tank in the background. You can see Iron Man's helmet looks better. Like, there's some color choices that were made on the Quest version that do make it look substantially almost improved. So it's weird, right? Now, obviously, this is, hindsight and, Endeavor 1 being able to kind of adjust these things, after the fact.
She's in hospital.
And here's the final stage here, the Tokyo stage, not the final stage, the second stage, Tokyo. I thought it was the worst looking stage on the PSVR, and it's probably the same thing on the Quest now that I'm thinking about it. Only because it just kind of, it's a city, but it just doesn't look like a city, it doesn't feel like a city, but it doesn't look as bad comparatively speaking to the rest of the game, just because they removed a lot of the details, and although the city does look kind of flat and boring compared to the PSVR version, which has all the lights and, all those effects, it kind of fit the game better, if that makes any more sense. It just looks decent. So overall, comparing two versions, the PSVR version overall looks better, but some of the choices and decisions made on the Quest 2 version still make it very comparative and even better in some ways. So guys, that's the vid. Thanks so much for watching. Once again, if you enjoyed this, subscribe, like, leave a comment, and I'll see you in the next one. Later, all.
That drone seems to defy the laws of physics.
And the laws of attraction. It's an old Stark-built Meridian mine. We didn't build it to do that.
Sir, it's unusual.